this right here, is another Dead on Arrival game. So see what she has to say about this. I was kind of interested in this, and then just like everything else, people who are in charge of making these things start talking. Then you realize they're a bunch of crazy weirdos who think that they can grab a hold of the world and shift it to their tiny perspective. And anybody who doesn't want that, then they just assume that we don't want it because we're bigots and we're this and we're istinphobes and all this other crap. It's like, no, you have a very limited perspective on stuff and you just want what you want, but you have no actual knowledge of how to convince people to your side. So always like it's like you figure that if you put the thing in front of people enough, it will change their opinion on it, and that doesn't happen, and you're shocked. Marvel's Wolverine associate narrative director Mary Kennedy says every lever must be pulled to push the disordered LGB. Like, I'm not even trying to say that. It's working on upcoming, Marvel's game. So that every lever must be speaking with dual shockers about recent GLAAD report, bemoaning the lack of LGB alphabet characters in video games. She described the report as heartbreaking. She also stated that something is the GLAAD report tells us something key. Games are are a way for these folks to socialize, but also tells us something heartbreaking. Gamers don't feel the developers are thinking them when they design games, because you make up like 5% of the population. You're trying to sell a game to everybody, not just you. If you want to make that game, you can make that game. There, just like it's just the same thing with the books and comics and all that stuff. You do not have to go and uh, hijack popular things, turn them into the thing that you like, and then when you turn them into the thing that you like that speaks to you, complain in different magazines and articles and all this other stuff. Well, how come this thing is failing? And because you're no longer trying to speak to everybody. They got people who are gay who just want to play a game. They just want to play a Spider-Man game. They don't necessarily need to have a level in the game that's geared towards them. A lot of them don't like that. They just want to play the game. They just want to play Helldivers. Or like where they just shoot the bugs. They don't need the trans flag to be on back of somebody. I'm like, why do you need this? And then you're like, oh, because you want the attention. You want to put it into different words, like you want so that you don't sound narcissistic. Say that no, it's for this, that. I'm like, no, because not every person who's of your particular lifestyle even agrees with you. So there are many, yeah, that's fine. You can have alphabet folk developers. We want what players want to design experiences that I don't. I don't need your experience. I don't need to know any of this. I played Horizon Forbidden Dawn. I liked it. Then I played the DLC, and I got about as far as when I'm sitting on the beach and I'm having this conversation with this with the Uber woman defend like a person in the game that like. Then I realized that I'm on a date. Like I did not ask to be on a lesbian date, not even a little bit. But there I was. I'm on a date. It's like I don't need like why do I need to experience this? It's not going to change my opinion one way or the other. You can live your lifestyle wherever you want. That's on you. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't want to be a part of it. You can live your life however you want. I'm not knocking you. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm like, but why do I have to participate? See, that's what I don't understand. Is that the excessive need to make me participate? I don't need to participate. That's your life. If you want to make games for your folk, fine. Go for it. Just go do it. Ain't nobody stopping you. But the problem is that there are not enough of you guys to not necessarily to no, I'm not gonna say that. There's not enough of you who need that in every experience, that experience in everything that you do to justify spending that amount of money to make a AAA game. They're just not. And for basically for everyone else, it's like it's like you're just running away your customer base. So so she goes on to say, like, we're important, we belong. It's like who's telling you you're not important or that you don't belong? What you don't, it's like they keep confusing where people either don't care or is like tired of hearing about it. With like we're somehow bashing them because I don't throw a parade every time you walk by. I don't need to do that. I don't need to know what my neighbors are into. Like that's your sex life. I don't need to know about that. Yeah, we need to pull every lever. This is the opposite of what video game developers should be doing. Instead of attempting to normalize and lead people to objectively disordered lifestyles, they should be promoting the common good. All right, so this guy, so I don't know who wrote this, is defined as Catholicism of the Catholic Church, some total social conditions. Well, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. So I don't want you, just like I don't need them pushing stuff. I don't need this push either. But all right, so it look like they're okay. This more okay. So he's getting into a from a Catholic perspective. Only thing that I actually want, to be honest, is like I don't need her stuff that she's pushing. I don't need the stuff that they're pushing. I just some of you don't seem to understand how narrative consulting on a game works. Don't worry, I do. This is yes, theme and they don't find us in the biz. Said the distance that wokeness is killing gaming. So here we okay. I have avoided conversation around Sweet Baby Inc. for so long, but now it's getting out of hand. Basically, when a game is being made, some people will hire them to help them write dialogue and character design of certain types. Spoiler alert: it usually involves stories and characters that isn't difficult. Now, I think what people call it one of this, and they flock to it like flies on a turd. To tell you, yeah, yeah, they are the reason because this game should have just been a fighting game. I didn't need to. They keep trying to gaslight people and said that their dumb ideas is not the reason why these games fail. But they don't mention they worked on God of War Ragnarok. Yeah, and you can clearly tell with God of War Ragnarok which parts that they had any input in. You know, so you wind up with black folks in Norse mythology. And this was widely panned because you didn't play as Alan Wake. You played as a race change character that was in another game. So they won't tell you precisely what they worked on, what piece of dialogue they did to add to what games and how because they don't know. It's not public knowledge. You could pretty much guess which parts of these games that they worked on by how they would change and the statements given by the people who work at that company. So you don't need to tell me what they worked on. I can figure out how you're pushing Peter Parker to the side for Miles Morales, even though he's nowhere near as popular as Peter Parker is. If they do what they're pretending like they're kind of pushing that they're gonna do and just completely remove him and push him, Spider-Man 3 won't make any money. So Spider-Man 2 didn't make as much money as they hoped that it did. So it's like there's parts in the game, it's like, why do I need to do this? It's like, oh, so you don't necessarily need me to tell me what they worked on. If you still confused why something like this will exist, let me break it to you. Let's say, like, who said this? Ah, see, you're still. I'm a young black gamer who lives in Los Angeles. I started playing on a back to Big Face. I started playing games when it was Pong. Right. This is like back in the late 70s, early 80s. I am a black gamer. I've been a black gamer longer than this person has existed on this planet. I'm to the point where I'm just so over like liberal white people thinking that they can speak for other people. It's like, so she's gonna lecture everyone about how young black people think, even though she's not one. She probably doesn't really know any. This stuff just pisses me off every time I see stuff like this. And it's like, so someone, if you come up with a character story that involves young black gamer who lives in Los Angeles, you should tell me about it because I kind of know what it's like. So here's creating a movie and say, yo, we have this character who is young black gamer who lives in Los Angeles. Would he wear something like this in the winter? How would they know? See this again? They work off the assumption that all black people are the same, think the same, do the same stuff, wear the same clothing. None of that is true. So you're not telling it from a young black gamer's perspective. You're telling it from a one person's view of the world's perspective. It's like this. Los Angeles is huge. I didn't grow up in Compton. I grew up in South Central. It's not the same as Compton. It's not the same as Long Beach. It's not the same as Santa Monica. It's not the same. So all of that is Los Angeles. So pretending that somehow everyone has the same experiences, that is not true. That is not even remotely true. Man, these people just drive me crazy. They're the reason why uh Crash Splash Mountain is gone. They're the reason why Ancient Mom is gone. They're the reason why Uncle Ben is gone. They're the reason why all of this stuff, because they got offended for the minorities. The reason why the Redskins are called the Commanders now, the reason why the Cleveland Indians are whatever the hell they're called now, their fan base hates it. The like Splash, the thing that it takes me off about Splash Mountain is the fact that these, like the Brer Rabbit and all these stories, those were slave, like American black people's folklore. It was a very unique thing. It was not based off of, it might have been some basis on some African stories, but it was a strictly American thing. Walt Disney, like there was a guy that went around that collected all of these stories because it was verbal. So they would just talk, they would say them. So this guy went and collected all of these stories and wrote it down in a book, in a bunch of series of books. Walt Disney decided to make a movie out of it. He got a lot of pushback for making this movie, right? At the time, a lot of pushback, but the movie was a success. But so the people who are doing revisionist history on it, saying how it's racist, is that, no, it's a product of its time, which is what it is. That's is history. So they're saying that it's racist, and so which they pushed enough that Disney put it in a vault, and you'll never see this thing, even though it's based off of slave stories that they used to tell their families, right? So it's based off of that. You'll never see none of this stuff again. And then some liberal white lady decided that she was offended by Splash Mountain for all black people. So therefore, they had to close Splash Mountain. So you'll never see any of this stuff. So these stories are going to go away. So the thing that this dude tried to prevent is going to happen because of liberal white people. But then they're going to pat themselves on the back like they did something when they did nothing. All right. And it just irritates the shit out of me. So this keeps person is talking. It's like the fact that helps us get more interesting, better characters. Your characters are not interesting. The characters that you guys make are one dimensional from one perspective, from your perspective. So if anybody else comes up to you and tells you anything different, then they're the assholes, or they're the ones who are, they just don't understand, or they're race traitors, or they're bigots, or whatever. But you and your like, yeah, it starts with the dev team. In sharing this video, Kenny posted, it starts with the dev team has an idea. Yes, the dev team usually is contrived of a bunch of DEI hires who don't know how to tell any types of story. So they're already gearing in that direction in the first damn place. and then you throw in more people who are just telling them things that they want to hear, and then when all of this crap fails, they sit back and they can't understand why all of this is failing. It's like, so so this is why you got Falcon going to star in a Captain America movie. Captain America is Steve Rogers. Falcon has been around since like the 70s. He has his own thing. You can make a movie about him. There's nothing wrong with his character. But because you guys don't think that black characters have any kind of merit, so unless they're taken over by a white character, so this person is brain dead, and it's just like, so it's like from public. Yes, all of these people are all tied into this stupid DEI crap. So that's why that stupid game didn't make like missed out on lost 200 million subscribers, well, not subscribers, $2 million. Hence the reason why you have this. This, this is ridiculous. Who is this for? This is not for the people who play games. This is not for fans of Batman because she's not a Batman character. This is not for anything but to push some stupid message, just like what she said. Is you are like, this is just the past and push some crappy message that people are getting really tired of listening to. Just over this nonsense.